Test, test, test.
There's no little red light on that camera? Got it. Okay, good. Thank you. That makes me less nervous. All right, you guys, so we're back in session again. We just finished a closed session, and thank to all the commissioners as well as town staff for the discussion that we had. And we'll be bringing that up to our residents here in one of our next meetings, telling you what we did. But it was all good. Thanks to everybody for being here again. We've got all 5 commissioners here, as well as town manager Wade Yost, town assistant town manager Niles Anderegg, town engineer John Strong. Seems like we've been here all day today. Is there any barbecue left over?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good sign. Although anybody that came in tonight can have some barbecue potentially. So it depends on what's left. All right. So thanks again for being here. If everybody, Jeff, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good stuff. So I'm not sure which commissioner is ready to go. I'm first on the list, and it's not even in alphabetical order, so that's a little weird. But if whoever wants, I want to go last today. So Jeff, if you're ready to go,
Announcements, right?
yeah, it's announcements and committee reports. We've combined them so that you can go to town, buddy.
So announcements first. Thanks, Ed. The Poolsville Area Chamber of Commerce will host a free networking happy hour on Thursday for members at Rockland's Farm Winery from 5 until 7 p.m. Rockland Farms is on Montevideo Road. Come out and enjoy the beautiful venue and evening with fellow chamber members. Businesses Helping Businesses Grow will take place on Thursday, October the 5th from 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. at Locals. New chamber member Douglas and Sons, a local plumbing and HVAC contractor, will be the guest speaker. PACC sponsored the ribbon cutting on Tuesday, October the 7th, or will sponsor the ribbon cutting on Tuesday, October 17th at 1:30 p.m. for the newly expanded clinic of longtime chamber member Poolsville Veterinary Clinic, located at 19639 Fisher Avenue. All chamber members are invited and light refreshments will be provided. The Poolsville High School will be hosting the 10th grade career day on Tuesday, October 24th from noon until 2:15. The organizers are looking for individuals to make presentations about their careers. If interested, sharing your career journey, email Michelle Hunsiker Blair at mcpsmd.org. The Poolsville Area Chamber of Commerce and the Fair Access Committee are hosting the Western Montgomery Economic Forum on October the 27th from 8:30 a.m. until noon at Cross Fines on West Willard Road. The stated purpose of the forum is to bring state, county, and local leaders together to explore opportunities to boost the greater Poolesville area's economy with a focus on supporting the area's historic, outdoor, and entertainment venues. PACC Executive Board Member Hillary Schwab will be representing the PACC. Chamber Member Alex Markoff of Kaliva will be a featured panelist. The forum is open to the public. Wamco Community Scarecrow Contest. The PACC is happy to once again be a sponsor of this annual contest. Enjoy the wide variety of scarecrow submissions on display at Wayland Commons from October 3rd to November the 2nd. Despite less than ideal weather on Poolesville Day, the PACC, Poolesville Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Democracy Lions Club held their 5K run and walk. It went off as planned. There were a record number of registrations, being 419, although the actual race day turnout was dampened by the heavy rain. Thank you to our many PACC members and sponsors who financially supported the event. The Monocacy Lions Club Golf Tournament will be held on Wednesday, October the 18th at Bretton Woods Golf Course. The deadline for registration and hole sponsorship is October the 6th. For additional information, contact Bill Jameson or email williamhjameson@outlook.com. Regarding the Poolesville seniors, Poolesville seniors join the Poolesville seniors for a social gathering at Seneca Polo Club on Friday, October the 6th at 6 p.m. Bring your own picnic, accessories, and drinks. Adult beverages are permitted. Watch for registration on the Poolesville Seniors website. Seneca Polo Club is located at 20,760 Whites Ferry Road. Riley's Lock Tree Identification Walk will take place on October the 9th at 10 a.m. until noon. Registration is also on the Poolesville Seniors website.
Registration's full.
It's full? Oh, wow, good for you.
If you want to go, let me know, because I'm leading the walk, and Ralph Uglass is the tree expert.
Oh, that's super. Wow, good, good. There will be, the Poolesville Seniors also sponsoring Baseball Bingo. Come out on October the 10th from 1 until 3 for baseball bingo, regular bingo, and baseball trivia. Bring a friend or a neighbor for an afternoon filled with congenial conversation. Competition, peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and of course prizes. George Coakley, an Orioles Dream Week baseball champ grad, will join former on-camera NBC reporter, photographer, and humorist I.J. Hudson to MC and call the games. Wear your favorite baseball cap. Cold weather home comfort tips will take place on October the 12th from 7 until 8 p.m. Join Larissa Johnson, Montgomery County's Residential Energy Program Manager, in person on October the 12th at 7 p.m. to celebrate Energy Action Month with home comfort tips for cold weather. As temperatures outside start to drop, it's time to think about ways to keep our homes comfortable. Larissa will walk you through the top 5 things you can do this winter to help lower your utility bills. This will take place at Spear Hall, which is a Presbyterian church on Elgin Road. The Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station invites you to its open house on Saturday, October the 8th from noon until 4 p.m. The activities include display of fire engines, river rescue boats, and EMS units. A children's treasure map to follow to see all of the equipment on display and win a prize. A display of hands-only CPR. A display of the upcoming service for car seat installations with certified child car seat installation inspectors, which happens to be me. Plus, currently 38 of the Poolesville Day vendors and food trucks will be present for the second opportunity to offer their items. The federal government has announced an emergency alert taking place on Wednesday at 2:20 p.m. If you hear a screeching alert, go off on your cell phone. That's what it's about. The federal government said it will conduct on Wednesday afternoon a nationwide test of its emergency alert system and wireless emergency alerts. The EAS portion of the test will send an emergency alert to all radios and televisions, while the WEA portion of the test will direct alerts to cell phones. The purpose of the October 4th test is to ensure that the system continues to be an effective means of warning the public about emergencies, particularly those on a national level. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is conducting the test in coordination with the Federal Communications Commission. Love, Jeff. That's it.
Okay, Jeff, again, very thorough, much appreciated. And thanks for the updates on everything. And John, thanks also for stepping up on that. Appreciate you and leading the walk, too. Martin, are you ready to go for Planning Commission?
Certainly. So the planning commission met last on the 13th of September. I don't think we've met since then, so we talked about that guy Gary Hartz and his Wild Turkey Way on his property.
Oh, yeah.
And we recommended that we adopt that name, so I think that board's going to talk about this later. We discussed the Bricken property. John Strong gave his review of the submitted preliminary plan. The preliminary plan was granted conditional approval based on water and sewer and what's going on there. The Donegan property, John Strong again gave his review of the submitted preliminary plan. The planning commission voted to grant conditional approval for that. It's a good looking plan. I mean, the townhomes look good, I think. The comprehensive plan was not discussed at length, but we should be getting a complete draft very soon if we don't have it already. Do we have it yet?
Yeah, so I have most of it together. We're working on a few last minute things like pictures. But you should get a draft probably Wednesday.
Okay.
So
So that's really getting close, so that's good news. I'll be glad when that's over. And I think it'll be a good plan. As for announcements, the ride at 9, the Poolsville Community Bike Ride has been happening. It's been well received. We've had anywhere between 15 and 25 people. And then in the interest of transparency, I have been talking to David Fraser Hidalgo about a mysterious report that is at Maryland Department of the Environment, and that apparently has some new data that calls into question. Well, I don't know what it does, but there's new information that we should know about our water. And I had a phone call with him and looped Wade in so that, because this is really his domain. And he's going to try to set something up, and Wade can talk more about this in the town manager report. He's going to try to set something up with us, with a rep from MDE, to find out more about this and how it could affect us. So that's all I got.
Can I ask a question? Is there any opportunity to provide input on the proposed 39 townhomes on the Donovan property?
No.
Zero?
Well, we had a period of input, yeah.
But that's okay. Wade, you can explain, give the theory behind that.
No, a commissioner can come, any resident can come. It was about an 8-month process in reviewing the plan once a month. And so those are all time periods where people would come out and actually testify against it, for it, whatever they wanted to do. And we had folks that come out.
And now, could you be specific about the commissioner's powers involving it? at
Oh,
this
sure,
point?
sure. So really, the commissioners have the say up front. You guys legislate the setbacks, the height limits, and what can and can't be built through the code book, that's the zoning code. So, I mean, up front, you say what can and can't happen, and that's exactly how the planning commission takes that, and they're empowered by state law to use what you guys have passed to approve developments.
And also too, just to be clear, they didn't require the use of our village overlay zoning.
No, the only variance was for a height variance that's very similar to the height variance that was granted on the opposite side of Fisher Avenue for those townhomes.
Well, I mean, I don't mind saying it again. I know it's maybe a broken record, but, and I know that they did apply for a height variance, but that applies more to the townhomes that are going to be built closer to the existing parking lot by Tractor Supply, not the townhomes that are going to face Fisher Avenue. And when the gentleman came and made the presentation, I expressed my opinion at that moment, which was maybe a little bit harsh. But I was really concerned about what I perceived as literally a 29-foot wall of townhomes, only 20 feet, 25 feet away from the sidewalk, and I'm not sure where the measuring begins. I went over and measured the sidewalk myself, although I totally trust John, Mr. Strong. And I got out my tape measure, and it feels to me like there's going to be a dark, literally a wall of townhomes on Fisher Avenue between CVS and where the roundabout will be. Well, there will be a break because there's one set which I think is 6 units, 20 feet wide, so that's 120 feet wall, literally a wall. And I was dismayed about that.
No, and you know, seeing it on a piece of paper is difficult when you look at the elevations, but it did take the architectural guidelines that, you know, the town has adopted, and it is broken up into different roof lines, has front porches all across it. I think in general, it's more of what you would see like in Old Town, Middletown, when you drive down with the row homes and the porches in the front. And that's the feel that we've put into our code and our guidelines in our comprehensive plan that we want people to build. So, I mean, it's up front. You guys have that approval.
It's a much better looking, well, in my opinion, it's a better looking development from the sketches I saw and everything than the ones across the street. You know, and everyone was upset about the height variance, but like it's not a large height variance. I mean, like you're talking about 3 feet in most cases or something like that. Yeah, I mean, and you know, I get back to the thing of like, you know, Donegan's going to want something, we're going to build something there. And the first plan was for a gas station and a 7-Eleven, which was, I think most of the residents found very unappealing. You know, you can't keep saying no to everything. So I think it's, like I said in my report, I think it's a good looking development, and, you know, it was well thought out, and the planning commission did work to shape it, so.
Well, one other, yeah, and I don't disagree with what Martin is saying, but I just want to, you know, say this again, and I know I'm just beating a dead horse over and over again. And if you talk to residents, one thing that they will probably say over and over again is that they don't want Poolsville to turn into Clarksburg. Well, this gentleman is one of the developers of Clarksburg, and the homes match Clarksburg, because that's what he has built there with different fronts. And I guess that's all I have to say about it. I find it disappointing.
Duly noted and duly registered, and all I can say is this is 39 townhomes versus 3,900 townhomes, which they do look that way in Clarksburg. I do give you that. I give the planning commission a lot of credit for really grinding it down as best they could with the restrictions that they have in place, or lack of, you know, what the protocols they have to follow. So I appreciate the due diligence as well as the opinion. Thank you for that. Sarah, are you ready to go?
Yeah. All right. Well, over Poolsville Day, the Fair Access Committee had what is kind of our biggest event of the year, which is the Poolsville Day breakfast. All of the commissioners were there, as well as the county executive. We had our state representatives there, our senator and our Congress, our state delegates there as well. We had over half of our county representatives as well. And then a lot of other amazing people who contribute to making Poolsville great. So it was very well attended. It was a great opportunity for us to both showcase what we've accomplished so far and kind of what's on the horizon for what we're really pushing for next. And we really focused on the community center, getting funding for the community center, for health clinic, for a bubble over the pool, and for access to more healthcare services out here. So those were kind of like our main points. The county executive had to leave a little bit early, and so he missed some of our presentation. And so we actually have a meeting scheduled with him this Friday, where we're going to kind of give them a mini presentation of what we went over, the part that he missed. And so I think that says a lot about the advocacy work that the Fair Access Committee is doing, especially Link. He's doing just a fantastic job. Then October 12th and October 16th are two public hearings. Well, one's a forum, one's a hearing on transportation. And I think those are ones that maybe the community, we invite the community to be a part of. The more residents who show up at these kind of events really help the county see how important these issues are to us. And both of them are going to be talking about transportation to Poolsville, including White's Ferry, but also like bus access out here, and how can we help our community members have more access to Down County. There's information about that on the website. I think we have it in our Fair Access page.
I believe so. I'll double check to make sure.
Yeah, we'll make sure the information is accessible for everyone. Jeff mentioned the Western County Economic Forum at Crossvines. The Fair Access Committee is one of the sponsors of that event. We've consistently asked the county to look at Poolsville a little bit differently. We deserve some of the same services that the rest of the county has. But when you use data, when you collect data, and then when you use the metrics to sort of analyze, for example, economic activity out in the western part of the county, it doesn't look the same, and you can't use the same metrics that you do for the rest of the county. So this forum will be an opportunity for us to really highlight kind of the four main areas of economic activity out here in the Ag Reserve, including agriculture, outdoor recreation, history, and agritourism, so that we can kind of showcase the economic activity that is going out here and then strategize better with our partners in the rest of the county to find ways that they can support the growth of that activity. There is also a hearing on agritourism on November 6th for those who are interested in being a part of the developing policy around that. And then December 14th, we have our annual Fair Access Committee holiday event for county and state leaders at locals. We've done this before, and it was a really big success. Just to also throw out one more thing, late November, December, Link has been working hand in hand with WUMCO for the last 3 months to build something they call Ride On Reimagined. And this is sort of part of that conversation around transportation, where they're trying to get bus service policies that make sense for our community. Right now, if you don't live within a mile of a bus stop, which most of the Ag Reserve does, then you are not eligible for any of the county transportation services. So WUMCO and the county and Link have been really working on this new report that's going to come out, and it should be available kind of end of November, early December. So that's all I have.
Do you have all that memorized?
No.
That's pretty
there's
good.
A lot going on.
That's great. Thank you. And that was a great report, Sarah. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work, too. Speaking about appreciating the work, Ed, tell us what you got.
All right, and so Sarah covered fair access. The only thing I could add to that is that we partnered up with the students over at Poolsville High School, and so the kids did an amazing job at the breakfast that we had, sharing about why we need to have a rec center. And so once again, they did a great job just tying in their thoughts and being able to go across diverse, interests of having a recreation center. And then on Friday, we'll probably bring a couple of kids with us over to meet with the county executive. So that's just the only thing I would add with fair access. Then in terms of Sustainable Poolsville, we have a meeting this month, and so stay tuned, more to come. Yep, that's it.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. So mine's pretty easy. I'm going to quick co-op update, and the co-op update is that we haven't done anything since the last time we talked to you, but we are doing things, and I'm going to be meeting with John, who is the person who has led the Lovettsville effort, and just had more of an informal sit down. We had so many things to go over the last time we met with them that it was like rapid fire. We only have like 3 hours. Let's climb through everything, and we did. But now we're going to, we'll have another little more informal meeting to talk about next steps, which really the next step is going to be to create a board that is, again, not the fundraising board, but the fundraising board, the people that develop all the enthusiasm behind the co-op. So you'll be hearing more about that as time goes on, but I just want to make sure that with I'll have a little more detail next time that I meet with him, and it might be Lincoln, it might just be me, we'll see. But after that, this gets a little more broad-based, and a board will establish more of a direction as we go on. We're getting there. Also, too, I wanted to say that we have been remiss in doing this, and it's, I was just talking to Sarah about it, and Ed, that we've had a member propose to be on the planning, the Fair Access Board, Fair Access Committee for a month, and the committee itself created the recommendation, and we didn't meet last time, So, and that's where she was going to land on that agenda. So she's here right now. Nancy Kidd, if you want to say hi to everybody, that's Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. You want to give a quick background on who you are and why you want to do it? Yeah. Well, does anybody have any questions for Nancy? Because that's good stuff. No, I know the committee members have already talked about it already.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you
Yeah.
for being willing to serve.
so yes, so since that's a committee, that we will need to officially bless that. So I'm going to take this moment right now just to ask if someone can make a motion, please, to bring her on board.
All right, I make a motion that we appoint Nancy Kidd as a member of the Fair Access Committee.
We have a motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second, just because Ed's on the committee, so we'll go with that. Thanks, Martin, for chiming
That's
in.
the only one.
Any other questions on Nancy's nomination or questions on it? No?
No, if you all have vetted it, that's good with me.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of approving the motion, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No? Welcome aboard. The work starts today. So, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Also, too, in my report, it's odd to say it because I never thought I would say it, but we received the official letter today from our town clerk, Bobby Evans, that she is retiring. And the town staff is well aware of this, and we've talked about Bobby and her merits and the way she's run town hall essentially as our town clerk for many years. And we're going to have a big party for her. It's 40 years. She tutelaged under the great Nancy Foss, who was another legendary town clerk back in the day, back when I was a little kid. And again, Wade was a little boy when he started here. You worked with Nancy, right, at one point or another? Yes. And and Bobby is the lineage that carries that on. So we want to say to Bobby that her service has been amazing, and we will have a party for her, and we accepted her resignation as of December 31st. The official letter came in today. Anything to add to that?
No, she's been a great asset for the town, and she's going to be missed.
Yeah, she's amazing. So again, we'll all be talking about what the next is, but we're going to have a get together for her, and then we can. My hope is that we can turn it into a roast because I owe her a lot of that. So I'm hoping that that's the way it works. It's a roast, right? There's a lot of payback to be had there. No, she's been amazing, and she's kept me in line for many years too. So and for that, I'm thankful. Last but not least on my report, we had a guest in here in the audience. Matlin is here, and she is a Poolesville resident. Go ahead and give us a little something about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Matlin. I'm currently pursuing a master's in
Yeah, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for observing. And you can see we try to keep it light, but we definitely take care of business. So thank you for that. And Matlin lives in one of Poolesville's old houses on Elgin Road. So when you're driving out of town, it's the one of the white houses that looks like an old farmhouse on the left-hand side. So, I think you still have the record for the oldest house that any commissioner's ever lived in.
Really?
I think so. And then, I'm probably right. I think our houses were built right in the same time frame, like 1910-ish, something like that, 1907.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
around the corner on Howard,
Are you?
second house.
yeah, you guys are neighbors. Yeah, that's right. You guys might back up to each other there. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you, and thanks for contributing. You have brothers and sisters?
Yes. Yes. And my little sister just graduated from Poolesville High School, so she was very proud of that. And
Awesome.
yeah, she's off to college.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for coming today. Ed?
It's congratulations. on your studies, on your master's degree. One thing you might want to consider is reaching out to the counseling department at the high school, because they do have a social worker on board. And so it would probably be a good learning opportunity for you to look at how that person helps our students from a social worker lens.
Okay,
So,
thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Madeline, thanks for coming up today. Appreciate you. This is the time for public comment, and do we have anybody signed up? Bailiff, anybody? Oh, you're making me put my glasses on, too. Thank you for that. All right, here he comes, too. There's one person signed up. It's Tom Kettler. Tom, thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Good evening. Tom Kettler, 10613 Hunters Chase Lane, Damascus, Maryland, soon to be back in Poolesville. At first, I just heard the news about Bobby Evans retiring. I just wanted to add I realize I've been working in town some capacity now for over 30 years. So Bobby and I go way, way back. And I learned early on that I try to dot my I's and cross my T's when I go in to see Bobby, but she's done a great job for the town. So I just wanted to add my compliments to her for her work, because I know she's worked very hard for the town. I did want to just, I understand that the town tonight is going to award the contract to the homeless restroom to, I guess, PBI Commercial. So I just want to congratulate them for winning the bid. I did want to just make a pitch, kind of wearing my Chamber of Commerce hat, and just something for future contracts when the commissioners review and approve contracts, that you might give some consideration or some weighting. And I've had this in other areas we've worked in, that people who either hire local people to do the work for the town, to do the work for the town, or they have previous experience in the town, that those might be, they might be taken into account, in addition to, obviously you all are working for the residents of town, and PBI was the low bidder, which I understand, but we really make an effort to try to, like, we were going to hire some local people to work on that job. I probably could have gotten cheaper people to work, but being my involvement in the town and with the chamber and everything else, I really try to, as we all do, we try to support our local folks. So I think I just sort of make that pitch, not for this job, of course, but for future jobs. And I know that's kind of hard to do, but it can be done in terms of weighting and giving some percentage credit for certain things, because I think that's important. And the same reason we all shop local, we try to support. I go to John's, I might be able to get something cheaper somewhere else, but I like having a local hardware store in town, so I buy as much stuff as I can from John, and we all do that kind of thing. So appreciate your time, and thanks for all your work.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions for Tom before he goes to the back row? All right, good. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for the contribution. We appreciate you. Approval of the minutes. The last time we had a meeting was a month ago almost, September 5th, 2023. Wade circulated those minutes. Anybody have any questions on them? Changes, corrections, comments? None? Can I get a motion? Anybody? Okay, motion to approve by Martin, second by anybody?
Second.
Second from Sarah. No other questions on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes of September 5th, 2023, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Minutes have been approved. Thanks to that, everybody. Old business. The aforementioned Halmos restroom facilities brought on by now John Strong. Thanks, John.
This project's been going on for a while. Originally, it was bid back in April, and the bidding came in and funding wasn't quite there for what came in at. So in August, Wade gave direction to go ahead and ask for best and final pricing. And out of that, we did have 4 contractors supply us with a price. PBI Commercial, they came in at $270,859. Kettler 4 Lines came in at $324,100, $324,100. And I can never get this guy's name right. Antalada Builders came in at $362,000. and Keller Brothers came in at $480,200. We contacted, after the bids came in on the 19th, we contacted PBI and started the process of evaluating the bids and also looking at who they have served before. And they've done work similar, in very similar nature, for other jurisdictions for the state of Maryland and also some privately held country clubs. So based on that, we do recommend that PBI be awarded the contract in the sum of $270,859 for construction of the new Halmos restroom. That's also demolition of the existing restroom. And we recommend a 10% fee be established for unforeseen conditions. That's $27,859. And a recommended budget for engineering and service and administration of $5,000. This brings the total cost to $303,718. I'm sorry, $303,718.
So that's an amazing amount for a bathroom. This is nuts. Construction costs are crazy. Right,
Yeah.
right, gold-plated.
But, you know, the thing of it is deemed a commercial building by Montgomery County, and that triggers a whole lot of different things that residential things don't have to deal with.
Right.
Are they using real bricks?
Yes,
I
we
mean, for the
are.
guys that are doing the price
Yes,
versus
yes.
Tom's
Bricks,
bricks.
concrete, you know.
There you go. All right, we'll double check that.
Yeah, it'll be all ADA compliant. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really, two
It's
more.
very similar to exactly the same one that exists down in Elgin Park.
Great.
So it gives you the sense, and
Right.
Tom and I discussed this at one point, how much it cost some odd years ago to build Elgin, which was considerably less.
Much less.
Yeah.
Right, and we cried about it then. I think it was $100,000, right?
Never 120.
It was a
I
little
think.
over 100,
120.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So on a more serious note, Wade, how are we paying for it?
So we gotta talk about that. We need a budget amendment. So right now, we've been saving up, we have some, about $60,000, well, $60,217 in general funds that accumulated towards the project. We were also awarded a $82,500 grant from the state of Maryland for the Parks program. And then, we need a budget amendment of $161,000, to fulfill this project.
Those funds are coming from unrestricted
Unrestricted
reserves?
reserves.
And what are our unrestricted reserve
We're
levels
about
at?
1.7 million right now.
And what's our recommended level? Way less.
795, something like that. So
Okay.
we have like $1 million.
So everybody get a clear picture of what that means?
A little bit of a cushion, yes.
Right, okay, good.
So that's staff's
Thank you for that.
recommendation would be to transfer, and it's on the form there too, $161,000 from unrestricted reserves to account 2035 for the Hamels Park restroom.
And is it two motions? Do we approve the contract one, and then we do the
Budget amendment
amendment?
first, and
Budget
then-
amendment first, right?
then,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Anybody want to do the lifting on that one?
What was the final amount that we need to transfer?
161,000. All right, I propose that we transfer 161,000 from unrestricted reserves to account 2035 Halmos Park restrooms.
Good job.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and we have a second to make the budget amendment. Is there any questions or conversation? We really didn't talk about it too much beyond just ridiculing the amount of money that it costs to do these things, but.
What's the option, do nothing?
Yeah,
Kick the can down the
they
road, I
can
suppose.
talk about the condition of the restroom right now.
No, and we have kicked it down the road a couple times. This is like 40-year-old restroom.
I was like, there's a
probably about
current
40.
restroom there,
Right,
but
it doesn't
it's
meet
kinda-
ADA requirements. There's a whole
worn
lot of
down.
problems with it. The pipes freeze every winter because they're inside the concrete walls. So there's a lot of issues.
And
with it.
imagine all that work, all that water wasted, people being, man-hours
It's
called out.
just for
to
safety
fix it.
reasons for the public also.
Sure, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that from anybody? Motion's on the floor, been seconded. All in favor of approving the budget amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, the budget amendment has been approved. Who's got the language for the actual contract
I can
itself?
do it, I think.
Martin?
I make a motion, we award the contract for Hamels restrooms to PBI Commercial in the amount of $303,718.
Motion's been,
No? You want me
is
to
that
use
the
a
right
lesser
You have to
amount?
use their bid.
Their
That's
bid.
how much we're budgeting.
Okay, I
but
make
you
a
have to use
motion,
their
we
bid.
award the contract to PBI Commercial in the amount of $270,859.
that motion's been made since Sarah is the corrector.
Second.
She gets the second. All right, any questions on that? Thank you, Martin and Sarah, for both of those. Any questions on those?
When will that take place?
good
I'm going to contact the builder tomorrow and send out a notice of award to them. Then typically it takes 10 to 20 days for the contract documents and bonding and everything to be gotten in place. And then once we get that, then we'll have a pre-construction meeting. And then we'll start construction, which doesn't turn out to be the best time of year to start construction. But I would think I'm hoping by April we'll have the facility up and running. I would hope.
It
But-
probably isn't the best season to do the construction, but at least the park is less used.
Right, but last winter would have been perfect.
Yeah.
So we never know
Warm
what's, we're
winters.
getting dealt this year,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
Okay, very good. Does that meet your requirements there, town staff? Good
Yes,
to
it
go?
does. Thank you very much.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you for pushing that through, John. Thanks for your work on that. We appreciate you.
Sure.
All right, new business, Montgomery County pesticide. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I mess some of them? Well, we did vote. Oh, no, we're on the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, thanks. We have made the award, and we've also made the budget amendment. Thank you guys for the reminder. Sarah, where were you on that? I was getting ready to move right past that. Oh, you're great. Thank you. Okay, now we're ready to move on. Montgomery County pesticide law. If town staff, you want to open it up before we kick it over to anybody else?
Sure, sure. This issue came up last month. There was a couple residents that kind of sent in emails to us asking us, what happened with the pesticide law? How come Poolsville and Laytonsville are the only ones in Montgomery County that opted or haven't opted into the pesticide ordinance? So I did some research on it. And in 2020, this was discussed. I wasn't here at the time. And several people came out and testified, some pro, some con. Really, the people against it didn't have a lot of solid evidence or it would harm their business. More of there's enough regulations in place right now, so why get more, why have more regulations? And I put that all together for you. Also, there's a website that the Montgomery County has that kind of discusses what it is, and there's organic products that can replace the synthetic type pesticides that we're talking about the Montgomery County has banned to use on lawns in different areas. They also do the code enforcement aspect of it, which is a huge thing. So it's not really costing us anything. You look at a kind of benefit analysis, there's no reason not to do it. Every reason probably we should think about doing it. And I took a clause out of the water report for Papadopoulos did for us, Kathy Mims' report of October of '21, and it specifically says that because there's a really thin protective layer over our aquifer, it is really susceptible to contamination from substances released on or near the surface, including fertilizers, pesticides, road salts, leaking underground storage tanks, and so on. So our own documents even say that, we should really consider this. This is something pretty serious. Then we look at our PFAS results that we're dealing with right now. Some of these pesticides do have a PFAS component to it. EPA is trying to outlaw it in all the pesticides, but it's certainly prominent in all these products that we've seen. It's not really, it's like an inert ingredient that's actually in the pesticides, like the foaming agents and different things that contain the PFAS. So that's an opening for you.
Just have a question. Are these pesticides still available, like if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's?
I do
That
believe they
Montgomery
are. They're not
County-
going to control, I don't think they control the sale of it, from what the website said.
Okay. Even though you can't use them in Montgomery County?
Right, it's more of an application. Well, you can in Poolsville and Laytonsville.
Oh, yes, right.
So commercial entities can't use these pesticides in commercial practice, but it seems like the private exemption, private residents can still use a lot of these pesticides. Is that correct?
It's kind of vague on that. I think that the county, they're trying to stop it everywhere.
Okay.
Before we get, appreciate the commentary, Wade, and the introduction. Sarah,
Yeah.
good questions. Soledad, Don, do you guys want to come up and sit down and talk about it a little bit? Or are you comfortable? come on up, introduce yourselves. Yep, figured. Yeah.
Okay, good. Hi, for the record, Don Street and Soledad Aguilar from the Sustainable Poolsville Committee. Up front, I just want to say that the Sustainable Poolsville Committee highly recommends, adopting the county ordinance. We have talked this a bit in our meetings. There is an element in the Sustainable Maryland long list of things that our committee can do as far as the certification for the town, and one of those is pesticide-free zones. We have not gone into a great deal of research on that. We did have a guest speaker from one of the landscaping companies came by. He made the pitch for not going with pesticide-free zones. We didn't necessarily agree with him. He made some good points, but we have equally good points in the other direction. And there are just some things we wanted to make sure that that you understood or that you got from us being the Sustainable Committee as an advisory body to you all. And I'm going to let Soledad jump in there with some, she is my expert on this.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. And we just heard that this was going to be dealt with today, like 3 days ago. So this is not an extensive research. It's just looking into some of the questions you were just asking. We looked into the county's pesticide law. It applies to private lawns, playgrounds, mulch recreation areas, and childcare facilities. So that's the scope of what it's applied. And basically, it bans all synthetic pesticides. From my understanding, that doesn't include fertilizers. It's just pesticides. And it has a lot of information on the website in terms of what alternatives can be used for organic lawn care. And basically, there should be no problem in keeping a healthy lawn, applying organic pesticides and the regular good practices in terms of leaving after the mowing, leaving the grass on, etc. So basically, I just wrote down there are some exemptions in case someone is interested for biting on or stinging insects or plants, disease vectors. When there's maybe one tree that has a specific pest, and you want to treat one tree, that can be done. Some noxious weeds, thistles, jostle grass, sugarcane, kudzu, some invasive species, Japanese knotweed, lesser celandine, wayleaf basket grass, indoor pests if you apply near the foundation, and if there's a pest outbreak of some sort and it needs to be addressed. So those are the exemptions in case people are interested because maybe they have one sick tree and they want to treat it, then that's possible. And then I think everybody knows most of the benefits. You get a healthy soil, carbon storage. Basically, they suggest that clippings are left on the lawn, and fallen leaves get also cut when you pass the mow machine, and then you leave it there, and it fertilizes the soil. Improves air quality, produces oxygen, captures stormwater and treats runoff, erosion control, and protects wildlife and habitat. That's the main benefit and health, of course, of the water resources that are underneath, birds, insects, etc. There's lots of information in the Montgomery County page, which we could, of course, with more time, and if this passes, we could make it available for all this, our neighbors to have this information handy.
Good deal. Jeff, go ahead.
I just have a question, maybe it's more for Wade. How does this tie into the wellhead protection?
Wellhead protection really didn't specifically identify pesticides, especially playgrounds, and as detailed as this. I think with the overall intent of the wellhead protection ordinance and program, it definitely fits right in with it.
Is what?
with the intent of the wellhead protection program, it definitely fits right into
Oh, sure.
something we
Okay.
should adopt
So it
with it.
does, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, was there a reason, I don't know, 20 years ago when this was not adopted?
There's only two of us,
It's a
and
few
Martin
years
might be
ago.
one of those two that'll talk about it.
Yeah, and looking back on it and hearing staff recommendation, it seems like this is the way to go to adopt it, to, follow the county's guidelines. But back when it first came forward, there was a bunch of people that were against it, and the town had a new town manager, and things were kind of in turmoil, and for whatever reason, it wasn't adopted at that point. I don't think at that time we had the good information from Sustainable Poolsville. You guys, really have good information, not just on this, but we really benefit from having you all come in and give us information, so thank you for that. And I think that we should probably follow town staff's guidance and adopt this.
Is there, if we adopt this, which I think we should, is there a communication plan so residents will know, use this instead of this?
Yes, we're going to put together a whole program on our website, tie everything to Montgomery County, so that as there's changes, or if it changes, everything just updated, it goes right to the county, because they're going to be the enforcers of it, and they make up the rules, so. They make up all the rules, so we'll definitely tie everything we do to the counties, as far as press releases and what's on our website.
I think the PFAS thing really, sorry, Sarah, PFAS thing
Yeah.
really puts a new light on this as well. I mean, that's hit home here now, and it's a serious thing, and it's our
Yeah.
water, so.
Yeah, to me, this is just a no-brainer. It makes so much sense to protect our water and frankly, to invest in kind of healing our soil. Our soil health is so important, and right now it's really been suffering. So to me, this is a no-brainer. In terms of the formality of what we do, essentially, are we getting rid of an existing, because it's a Poolsville-only policy, right? Like any company, any landscape company that works in Montgomery County outside of Poolsville has to follow county regulations, but within Poolsville, we just haven't adopted them. Is that what it is?
Exactly-
So we
exactly
just
correct.
adopt
So if you
Montgomery
guys-
County, and then as Montgomery County's adjusts however it needs to,
Right.
we would just follow along.
Which in talking with the county folks, they're saying, please adopt this,
yeah, it
because
could
we want to
change.
apply the rules to everybody throughout Montgomery County.
Right,
It's
it
much
makes
easier
so
to do
much
it that
sense
way.
for
Right.
companies to have the same rules across the whole
Right.
county.
And most people are complying with it already, just because the rest of the county has to do it. I
Right,
mean,
we're so small.
Right.
In mind that, and Wade spelled that out, I don't want to belabor it because it sounds like we're there already, but the reason why we didn't do it last time was, and I was there, was, first of all, we had a number of landscaping companies say, we really don't do this anyway. And again, county trying to impose laws on Poolsville, takes extra thought and extra deliberation by this body. And the body really wasn't up to it at the point. So, there was no apparent harm. We had our regulations in place that we currently we used at that time. This is just a here and now. That's why it makes sense today. Yeah, go for it, John.
I was in Brunswick yesterday, waiting to attend a meeting.
There's already an exemption in place for pest outbreaks.
My friend was saying,
So do you want to? I'll make a motion that Poolsville adopts Montgomery County pesticide law.
Motion by Martin, second.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Ed. Any other questions amongst everybody?
Would that go into effect immediately, Wade?
So what this is going to put us in motion, the staff can actually go through the paperwork and get it signed up, they will opt into that ordinance.
So I'll just clarify the motion. The motion's been made to opt into the Montgomery County Pesticide Law 33B. Motion's been made by Martin, second's been made by Ed. Any other questions or comments on it?
Yeah, I just have another question. So does this mean that the agricultural entities that basically surround Poolsville already comply with this?
Yes.
Okay. And we're just like the Odd man out.
Poolsville and Laytonsville,
Poolsville, okay.
two municipalities.
And you know, there's quite a few number of ways that we do not necessarily adhere to it, but this is one, obviously, we just didn't have it together a couple years ago. All right, very good. So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? None? Nothing from the back there, whatever that was? Okay, good. That motion's been passed. Thank you, town staff. Thank you, Sustainable Poolsville. Soledad, thanks for writing in. Appreciate it. John, your insight too. And we look forward to hearing a little bit more once you do your paperwork on this. Okay, good stuff. All right, establishment of a forest conservation bank. This is a very staff-heavy meeting. Keep going.
And a very green one.
It is indeed.
So, little background. Every time a development occurs, redevelopment occurs, there's a forest conservation requirement of some sort that has to occur, whether it be afforestation, reforestation, or payment fee in lieu. A couple of years ago, the state changed it. We used to get the fee in lieu money, and that's how we actually planted the Arboretum on Campbell Park, was from those funds there. We've done street trees with it. The state changed the law and said, no, the money doesn't stay with the jurisdiction, it goes to the state. And so the planning commission was saying, well, look, we want all replantings to occur within Poolsville, our own jurisdiction. And so they stopped, they said, okay, we're not going to take fee in lieu as an option anymore. It's going to be reforested on site or afforestation in another area. And we've done this before. We've afforested in Stevens Park and over behind the middle school. There's a couple of sections we've done over the years. So this is before you, because for us to be able to establish a forest conservation bank, the owners of the properties, which is you guys there, needs to establish a forest conservation easement that needs to be established over the property so that we can facilitate the bank. So that's why it's brought to you.
It has to be a certain size relative to the development?
Each development does, but then forest banks have their own regulations also. So this actually came up from the Donegan property down here, the townhomes. He's got to replant half an acre of trees. So I set a map up on the back of the sheet of my memo, and it lays it out, and it's a very large area we have by Coteen Way, goes all the way back down, all the way towards Bodmer Avenue, actually, that the town owned. It was a kind of a non-buildable area for the Hunters Run 2 subdivision, and donated to the town. Prime area for this type of activity. So he can get his credits and he can plant those trees. He has to bond it. He has to put 2 years warranty. That's all typical things of forest conservation. Yes, the forest bank, forest areas have to be certain depths as far as forest goes. You just can't stick, like 10-foot wide, area of trees. It's got to be set up in a specific way per the state regulations. Okay.
I'm just curious, so let's say they plant the trees, but they do it poorly and the tree dies. Does the town replace that tree, or?
So there's two things. One, they have to bond their work, so it's going to be paid for, and they have to carry a 2-year warranty on the trees, and it gets inspected, and a report goes to the state. We have to do annual reports with the state forest office. John, actually, he's our forest guy. He does that each year for every development that we have. 'Cause we have little forest conservation easements all over town. So yeah, we'll be adding to that. And it also should be noted that the whole comprehensive plan now talks about redevelopment. And redevelopment of the downtown area, there's not going to be much of an opportunity to plant trees in the downtown area. So creating this is going to help, anytime in the future that we go to do anything else, we can, this bank can be used. And
When you say bank, would this be someplace where if you needed to move a tree to someplace in the town, you would use this area? Or is this meant to just be like a conservation?
exactly conservation.
And people will be able, is it open to the public? People can walk through the forest?
It could, yeah. It'll be just like, so part of the existing forest that's over there now, we talked about the Hunters Run Trail. So that trail is delineated, it was taken out of this area here. There's a green line. You can see that we're not impacting that at all.
The one that the Parks Board is currently talking
Yes,
about
yes,
is
yes.
part of this?
So I made sure that it wasn't, no,
Interesting.
we actually delineated it, so
Oh,
it would
it's out
not
of
be
it.
part of the easement.
Oh, okay, okay.
So if it is, it's a page, whatever it turns out to be, I didn't want to impact it.
Okay.
So that's fine, we can do that.
Oh, okay.
But there's some existing forest there that's going to be captured into that forest conservation easement right now also. So there'll be existing forest and then we'll be adding to it. So that's even a kind of a neat idea, actually. Go ahead.
Just real quick, so the existing forest,
and there's a number that, there has to be 100 trees per acre, and a whole bunch of other things have to take place. Those trees can't, they'll be under the forest conservation, but they will not be counted as part of the forest bank. Okay?
Only ones that are added after.
Only things that are added.
Okay.
And that's because of state law.
And, sorry, one more question. What's going to happen to the existing invasive plants that are there? Is there going to be like
Invasive species-
active removal of
invasive
invasives?
species, when somebody comes in to do a forest bank in a particular area, the invasive species would have to be removed.
So they'll kind of be removed in part every time another plant is added, then you'll kind of remove the invasive species in that region? Okay,
They will, it's on the onus is on the developer,
Do you need a motion for this?
love that.
yeah,
It's so much work.
yes. Yes, to establish the easement, yes, and then we can go to work with it.
Does the, and it probably won't be used again on the property right there, but does the overlay zone allow for this forest bank, or is that too dense?
No.
It's a
so-
different area.
So all options were available to the, this area also, but they were able to recapture their forestation requirements on site. Is that correct, John?
Oh, so this is when they can't do it on site?
Exactly. And
Okay.
that's very typical of townhomes or smaller lots, that type of thing.
And so basically, you're just depositing a tree in the bank.
Yep.
All right, here's a bank, make your deposit, and so if I'm looking at the map correctly, over there near Helmos, over there where that water is, a lot of people don't know about it, but there's a little pool of water there, that a little slither that the town owns. And so you're talking about right over in that area, all right? Is that what you're
Does the
talking
map
about? Or
say-
you talking about across?
Oh, you're gonna be the beaver pond, so we're going
Are
to,
you talking further down?
further down, exactly, downstream from that.
And is this the total of about 7 acres? Is that correct?
What is that total? You think so?
Yeah, the total lot is
7.73 acres. Okay. Sorry, it's kind of sideways, so I'm like trying to read it.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to look at it sideways.
You got your rotation?
You guys, well, we can have time for more questions in just a second too on it as well, but all good questions. Exactly what kind of wording do you want? I don't really get it off of this. Do we have to have a specific area
I think-
designated?
No, I think you'd want to
How do you designate it?
make a motion to create a forest conservation easement on the property as depicted in the,
As presented.
yes, for the purpose of a forest
we go.
conservation bank.
Yes, there we go.
You got-
Yeah.
you have enough there or not?
You're right, that works better than bending my head.
Yeah, I'll try. You guys ready for a motion?
Yeah, go.
Yes.
I make a motion that
Love
we establish the Poolsville Forest Conservation Bank as presented by town staff,
To be located off.
to be located off Coteen Way
For the purpose of a forest
for the
conservation bank.
purpose of forest conservation.
Okay, very good. We have a motion on the floor. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second from Sarah. Okay, more discussion on it. Anybody else? Have we covered it? I think we have a diagram here. We know exactly
Yeah.
where it's going to go. We know what it's going to do. We know what the requirements are from the developer. It's not just this developer, it's others as well that might, as things happen in the future, the long-distance future. Any other questions? No? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, well, thank you. Town staff, we've approved that motion. All right, Hart Street name. Mr. Harts, do you want to come on up? Tell us about your affinity for the name. Do you want to tell us about the affinity of your name that you're proposing here? Yes.
Gary Hartz, 19101 Fisher Avenue, and I'm requesting the naming of a lane, and it follows all the town codes as outlined in the note that I sent, and it follows also since it doesn't have, it's not one of the selected names that you've distributed, but it follows the flora and the fauna. And since I've observed beaucoup wild turkeys running around out there and the little poults that run around after them, I decided to proffer Wild Turkey Way. And it's gotten, I think, unanimous support in the two previous bodies. And I hope that you folks volunteering in your jobs will go along with your other bodies that have already studied this.
Is that all?
Well, I could have all like other kinds of comments on
No,
other subjects.
well, those are all coming. That's okay.
I'm not eating them. I couldn't
Right.
quite figure out what you just did on forest conservation.
No, we did.
Forestation.
We did
but
get it done.
That'll happen later.
And by the way, Gary's sat behind this desk.
Pardon?
How many years were you behind in this chair? How many years?
I was, I don't think I was ever in that chair,
But one of these.
but I served 8 years on that chair. And I
Good enough.
served 7 years on the body that
Martin sits on now. the
Martin
planning
sits
commission.
on.
Yeah.
And I chaired that for a number of years when the Spates Hill
Seneca Chase.
Seneca Chase was built, and that was a challenge because I was on the board when we changed all of the planning and zoning regulations, all of them, redid it, so you got street trees, curb and gutter, you've got parks set aside, all of that was done during the lead up, and then I became the chair. And then we had to implement the first one out of the chute after the 10-year moratorium. So it was a really big learning exercise that I was part of.
Yeah, Gary's considered to be one of the fathers of the modern neighborhood in Poolesville. So, not saying that has anything to do with our vote that we're going to do here, but just letting you know that there's a lot of history
It was
there.
a learning experience, let me
Right.
tell you.
Yeah, and said to implementation, there was something new every day, I'm sure. So quite a deal. Anyway, appreciate the vetting it through, of course, all the committees as you're required to do. The Planning Commission, as said, Martin has the reports that the Planning Commission's already given it its blessing as well.
Yeah, we voted unanimously to recommend it.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Town staff, anything else to contribute beyond what Gary's already done?
Yeah, so just to go off what Gary said, as per the policy that was enacted in 2020, this had to go before the Parks Board, and they unanimously approved it. It went before the Planning Commission, as Martin just said, and then it is before this body. Also, we checked this name with the names in the county. It was not another Wild Turkey road or way in the county, so that also means that it's cleared that hurdle as well. Yep.
I looked for an address on Wild Turkey Way, and I couldn't find one anywhere in the county or in the state of Maryland.
Jack Daniels Way was already taken,
I
so.
just want to live there.
Does it have a creek going through, probably like Knob Creek? And I live at the corner of Knob Creek and Wild Turkey Way, I don't know. Or Wild Turkey and Ginger. How about, that's my favorite drink.
I motion that Jim doesn't tell any more
with
bad
the-
jokes.
Yeah. I've got more. I've got more since we talked about this earlier
You know,
today.
it's interesting, but with the sound system you have in here, I actually only hear about 75%.
That's
and
good.
I've got hearing aids, and
Oh.
that's intentional, I suppose, but.
Yeah.
But no, all kidding aside, whether I was sitting in the back or sitting here, I have a devil of a time hearing, even though I've got my hearing aids cranked way up. It just doesn't come through clear.
We are
for some
changing
reason.
all of it. In fact, by the next meeting, maybe, wait for the town manager report. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is
Sorry,
this a-
sorry I brought it up.
No, go ahead. So we need
Is
to have.
this a motion?
Right, we need to have a motion. And somebody should say it should be in accordance with resolution number 3-20. Go
In
ahead.
accordance with Resolution 3-20, I motion that we approve the name for the Hart's property of Wild Turkey Way.
Good enough. Motion second made. Any other questions or comments? Commentary, Jeff? No? All good? All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? All right. Congrats, sir. Yes, thank you. Thanks for coming up with something pretty cool. That's good.
And it's not a man's name.
No. All right. Yes. There you go. I'm not commenting further. Town manager's report. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, happy to announce that the state MDE has finally approved the PFAS filtration systems, and now it's going into the system. We're still doing our testing. We have to finish our pilot program. Hopefully get a break somewhere where some PFAS is coming through a little bit before it gets to the second one, so we can kind of gauge what it's going to cost and how often we're going to have to do this swap out of the media. And that's what the whole purpose of the test is. But for us to move forward like we did, that was kind of amazing that we're, have it going in the system right now. So I was happy to hear that.
That's strictly well number 3, right? Not well number 2, right?
That's right. So once we find out exactly what it's going to cost in the long term, as far as swap out to the medias and everything, how long it's going to last, then we'll be able to make a determination. Is it worth us to do well 2 in the same fashion, or is there other options we should look at for well 2, which we are doing a second pilot program with the cyclopore media also. So
well 3 has a different medium than well 2.
actually, well 3 also has the corn product on there and a smaller bench cycle that we bled off of the raw water to test it also.
I thought that well 3 only had the granule activated charcoal.
No, there's the company Cyclopore. They came in and set them up for free.
Oh.
So I said, fine. So just 2. So well 3 has 2 on it, but well 2 just has the other. But we're going to take it off well 2 and actually take it to well 6.
It is now.
Yeah. So yeah.
Tell us what that means in terms of our water today. What is being brought back online?
So well 3 pumping into the system, and the levels are non-detectable as far as PFAS. So it's 100% removal. So that is awesome. Yep. So I'll also be coming back to you at some point, maybe by spring, to talk about well number 2 and the costs associated with that, and as well as encasing, putting a building around the filtration units that are at well 3 right now, because they are exposed to the weather right now. So John's working on that as we speak. Last week we had a storm that came through and some electrical glitches happened. And actually the pump at well 7 that I talked about before had burned up. It burned that pump up again. So Easter days, they're going to pull the pump and we're going to put in some, it's kind of a weird place. It hasn't happened for a long time, but it's at the end of a line. And so we're going to put some other interrupters before the primary electronic equipment, sort of like that, yes, but a heavy duty one because it's a 3-phase. So it is down. Hopefully by the end of the week we can get it back up.
Okay, thank you.
I will be meeting with Jay and the PFAS legal team, talking about the settlement offers. We've done some extra testing, and we're getting all our ducks in a row to submit to them to see what's going to come out of it. Settlements with 3M for the PFAS. We're waiting to see exactly how that's going to play out. A lot of people are getting in line for the money now. At least, last year or a year and a half ago, we said, okay, yes, as soon as we found out about it, Jay advised us to go ahead and get in line. And so we're at the front of the line. We are so much smaller than the other jurisdictions that are dealing with it. So it may be on a almost of a GPD, gallons per day, that you pump, kind of a number. So not sure what the amount's going to be yet, but anything we can get, we should get. The lynching memorial sign is in. Preston has it down at his shop, and I think they're going to put it up, ready for that ceremony on October 22nd. It's big and it's heavy.
I think it's 3 o'clock. 3? I think so. 3 to 5. Yeah. Refreshments, have locals afterwards. Yeah.
Is that on the 22nd?
Yes.
Sign location in front of the community garden.
Did you have? Or you have something, don't you?
The website.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about it at the end.
I have a quick question about that. It's a sidewalk, narrow land space, so there may be a whole lot of people, around that area.
You can talk about this if you want to. You can do it.
Yeah, no, John, so we've already talked about, we are going to have some sort of traffic management take place on it. So just to give you FYI, town staff will be on board.
No, I read that one.
Thank you. Yeah, we realize it's right there and there's not much room. Go ahead, Wade. Thank you.
All right. So coming up, we have a few events just pulling off from that. So Rocktoberfest will be Saturday, October 21st from 2 to 6 p.m. So there'll be bands, brews, and booze. Rock bands, breweries, food trucks, artisan vendors, sort of the whole thing. There's also going to be a hospitality tent for our volunteer boards and commission members as an appreciation for them. And then also the The next Wellness Wednesday will be October 25th at 6:30. It's going to be stroke prevention, and it's presented by Circle of Rights. And then the other update that we had is I met last Friday with Civic Plus to do the kickoff of the redesign of our website. We've had this website in its current form since 2014, and so we're looking at refresh. So right now it's big picture things, color scheme, sort of the overall layout to get the process started. So we're working on that right now, and so feel free to send me any suggestions that you might have for improvements or view of example websites of other jurisdictions that you like. Feel free to send them my way as well. So that's sort of the main updates.
Website update, don't do what Seth did.
Yes.
That's all we need to know. Thank you for that. I do have a question for you that we
Yes.
talked about earlier today. If you want to go ahead and summarize the Poolsville Day Committee mini meeting that we had to talk about what we did on Poolsville Day.
Certainly. So myself and Jim, as well as Preston and Kathy, along with Kevin Schramm and Kathy from the Poolsville Day Committee, had a meeting to sort of go over how Poolsville Day went. Thank you for everyone who showed up. We're looking at sort of preparing for next year in terms of weather and how we want to communicate and how we want to improve those communication functions and be prepared. So making sure our vendors know what their responsibilities are, such as securing their own tents and things like that. Make sure that's laid out in advance and having communication all the way through to Poolsville Day itself to make sure that people are informed of when weather events arise, how we'll distribute that information and make sure that it's timely and accessible for everyone.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And we do all appreciate the Poolsville Day Committee's work and the decision-making that went into kind of a hectic week and day. And I thought we made the right call, and I'm proud of our team and our residents. Yeah. Is that it for the town manager's report? Okay. You guys, we're at the end. Any other questions or comments?
I have something to say. I
Say
motion
it.
we adjourn.
Motion from Martin to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second and third by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are officially adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Good meeting, everybody. Thank you for being prepared.
So I'm curious about the strategy for this.
I think we met.
Oh, yeah. Here. Thanks, Nancy. Did you already? It's good.
I texted her during the meeting, I'm like, hey, she was.
Yeah. Yeah. You get approved, and then, would you like a briefing? That's a link for you. Yeah.
We're gonna get you before you can decide.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
You're in.
How's your kid like in that grade?
Oh, she's loving it.
Yeah, she's good.
I want you to take this with you. I'm going to share mine with a link, but this is talks about the community action plan from Brunswick.
Oh, cool.
Completely different funding mechanism. World's different from us. It's another reason why we need fair access, because they just get stuff left and right, and we have to sit there and beg. And
Is that something to look at in the future, revenue streams?
in
Is there
term-
room for anything to change in that area?
I mean, no, probably not. See you, Val. See you later. Thank you. Yep. See ya. I don't know about that. They're, the projection, you'll hear from Mark on Friday, the projections are awful. See you, Martin. They're awful for what they have coming up. And they're going to be,
Sounds like it ties in with the rest of the county. I'm saying, are there town-specific revenue streams that potentially change?
not unless we raise taxes.